Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to the podcast, Love Letters to Pam, or you're maybe watching on our YouTube channel, Traveling with Jack and Pam. Either way, as I always say, thank you for checking in with us. Now, obviously, I'm driving when I'm recording this particular podcast, so I do apologize if you hear some road noise, and you can also hear the air conditioner going. Need to remind you, it's another hot day here in the Phoenix area. It's actually a little cooler than it's been of late. We're below 110, but now we've started to get some of those monsoon thunderstorms, and that, of course, means we're raising the humidity values as well. So we got a little humidity. Now, it's still like nothing you see on the East Coast, but humid here, when it gets up around 25, 28%, it can feel a little sticky. You definitely notice the difference between going from 4 and 5% to 25%, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I come to you on a Sunday evening. It's around 5 o'clock, and I'm actually headed out to a local golf course where, even in the heat, I'm hoping to get in at least 9 holes before the sun goes down. And I want to come to you with a message of maybe one of continued hope for those of you on a grief journey. And that hope being that with each and every day that we're left on this earth, we've still got purpose in being here. And with each and every day, there's going to be an opportunity for some happiness. Now again, I'm always the first to admit it'll never be like it was before for most of us. It just can't. That was, in my case, incredibly special, what I had with Pam. And of course, I'm sure that you too had some incredibly special relationships as well. But it doesn't mean that we can't still have some moments of joy and some times of what I might call clarity as to what we're doing on particular days and such. We've talked about before how sometimes, the weekends can be really, really challenging. And I'm happy to report that this weekend I actually started looking forward to along about Thursday. And the reason being is I had been talking with another person. It was a woman who had also been widowed about 2 years ago. And we had some really meaningful conversation. And I said, I don't know about you. We said, we should get together and let's have some coffee or lunch one day and just kind of share our journeys. Because it just kind of helps when you got somebody on the other side of the table that you can look at one another and both of you understand where you're at and where you're coming from. Because so often, unless you've been there and you've been down this grief journey, you don't get it. Even with your friends and family and such, they may think they get it. They may nod their heads in support, but really, they don't get it. And that's that whole thing again about walking in someone's shoes. So it seemed like that we really hit it off in terms of getting each other, if you know what I mean. Understanding one another. And so I said, instead of lunch or dinner, I said, the weekend's coming up, and I said, I don't know about you, but I said, I can't think of the last time I actually looked forward to a Saturday night and going to a nice restaurant for dinner. I said, what do you think about doing that? And I was pleasantly surprised when she said, I'd love to do that. And so we did, and we actually ended up going to a restaurant that I had done a video review of here on our YouTube channel. And I'm going to tell you, it was a fun night. I don't say that very often anymore, but it was a fun night. We laughed and talked about different things. We had our moments of, sharing our sadness. I told one little story that I almost shed a couple of tears, but I was holding back a little bit. And we talked about crying and the benefits and the healing powers of tears. We talked about our spouses a lot. And that's what was so nice. That's the thing I think that you may find if you've not done this, is when you get together with someone else who's lost a spouse, whether it be, in my case, a woman, or in your case, you're talking to another man, or maybe it's 2 men talking or 2 women talking. There's just something about sharing those experiences with one another and talking about our mates that is so comforting to know that neither are threatened by hearing about the other's spouse. I loved hearing about her husband and hearing about their marriage and hearing about the things that they did. And I did the same about Pam and I and our story. And we also talked about our families, talked about our children. We talked about sports. We talked about medical issues. We talked politics. We talked houses. We talked cars. We talked about everything. It was just fun to talk with somebody, kind of in my same demographic, going through the same walk in life that I am, and enjoy a meal out on a Saturday night. The point being, I opened myself up to the possibility. Now, no, some of you may be thinking, oh, he's found him a girlfriend. No, nothing like that. And I don't think that crossed either of our minds, because that's not what it's about. And if you're out there shopping around, just looking at people for, I want to have a girlfriend, I want to have another husband, you'll be sadly mistaken and misled, in my humble opinion. Things have to happen in their own time. And with this, it was just a good time to share thoughts and feelings with someone going through the same thing. I mean, that's about all I got to say about that. It's just a really good thing. So if you can find somebody who's been going through what you've gone through and spend some time and visit with them, it can be an amazing experience. Will we get together again? Well, I kind of hope so. We'll see. I think it would be good, because it is of great benefit in the healing process. So I tell you that because I ended up having a good Saturday. A really good Saturday. First Saturday in a long time that I wasn't alone, outside of spending time with our kids and relatives, and when I take a trip back and see old friends, but to just spend a Saturday evening with somebody totally new, and to be, for that matter, out on a Saturday night. I can't really remember the last time it was just me and another person. Well, I'm not sure anybody other than Pam I'd ever gone to dinner with on a Saturday night. Otherwise, it's been our kids or family members or old friends. So it was just a fun time. So my Saturday ended up being a good experience. Roll forward, it's time for Sunday. And I think I mentioned I found a church that I actually feel really comfortable attending. I think one of the things I like about it, it's light, it's bright. It's kind of a mix between contemporary and conservative worship style. It just kind of fits. It's kind of the type of church that Pam and I always enjoyed. And so church has become a better situation for me. And I've gotten to know one of the associate pastors pretty well. We've gotten together 3 times now for coffee and had some really deep discussions about our families, our life, and things like that. And that's been good. And on this Sunday, you may recall I did a show not long ago about meeting a young woman from Kenya who was here on a work visa for 6 months. And I try when I can to pick her up and bring her to church. And I did on this Sunday, and brought her to church with me. And it's nice to have somebody sitting there next to you during the worship service. And what's so beautiful as well is she just finds our country so amazing. And I'm taken back by her enthusiasm and love for the things that we take for granted here in this country. And we had a great worship experience. And then we went out to lunch afterwards. I took her to a place so she could experience Nashville hot chicken, a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. And it ended up being a lot of fun, and she enjoyed that. And then, for some reason, we started talking about IKEA. And she'd heard about IKEA. She'd never been to IKEA. And she also was talking about someday she'd like to go to Las Vegas just to see, she said, all the lights and everything that's going on. I said, well, you're in luck. I said, we can't go to Las Vegas, but I said, we've got a really large, several casinos here in the area. And I said, you want to go walk through one? I said, we'll do that after lunch. She says, could we? And I said, certainly we can. And we kind of laughed. I said, yeah, that's the way things are supposed to go. You go to church and then hit the casino. No, we didn't go gambling. But I took her and we walked the casino floor. I showed her some of the games that people were playing and the card games and the slot machines. And we watched some people win some money. We watched some people lose some money. And she just thought this was fantastic. She said, I just can't get over all the bright lights and the colors and all the activity. I mean, again, she's a stranger in a foreign land, so I get it. This is all so new to her, and that's the reason I love just watching her face and her interactions with people. Well, from there, we then made our way over to IKEA. And I got to tell you, our daughter and my Pam loved going to IKEA. I'd go along. Some of you guys know, oh boy, we're going to IKEA. Only reason I like to go was they used to have free coffee in their cafeteria. Anyway, so I took her to IKEA, and once again, it could have been Disneyland. I mean, she just thought it was amazing. And we went from room to room, how they have the square footage of like an efficiency apartment, and they show you the whole layout, or they show you a bedroom, they show you a living room. She's actually taking pictures and laughing, and you know, when I first thought about having to go to IKEA, I thought, oh, this is going to be a long time, but you know, I want her to go, so I took her. But I ended up having a good time at IKEA. First time I've enjoyed going to IKEA since I went with our daughter or Pam. I mean, it was just one of those cases where it was kind of fun being with somebody out there enjoying the wonders of IKEA. And once again, we didn't spend a nickel there. And then I took her on a drive through this home of incredibly high-end homes here. And I showed her where I lived, and she just thought it was fantastic. And so the day ended on a really, really good note. And now I'm headed to the golf course to maybe play about 9 holes of golf. And again, you know, I met the young woman from Kenya at church one day and introduced myself and found out that she didn't have a car but was working here. And, you know, basically I'm able now to take her out and show her things on Sunday afternoons. And it's because I made myself available to her. And I want to tell you as well, too, I wanted to put this in, the woman who I have met and we had dinner and talked, another thing we talked about, and some of you have been reluctant to do this, and I've told you I really wish you would, was she does trips alone. And she says it's been the best thing for her that she can imagine since losing her husband. It's hard, but I've talked about you can. I don't care if you are a woman, men, you know, don't use the excuse for, well, it might not be safe, this and that and all. You just go out there and you use common sense, go to areas that appear and feel safe, and you're going to be okay. I think what I'm trying to tell you is, like my friend who I had dinner with said, you got to keep living life. And I do think that in my case, Pam, and in her case, her husband, they do want us to keep living life. And when I think about it, I wouldn't want Pam to be here, you know, just isolating herself and never getting out. I know it would be hard for her, but I think she could do it. And I think you can do it too. And some of you may in the comments have some excuses for why you can't do it and point out the dangers of this and that. Well, you know, kind of like my new friend and I said, you know, if you go out and take a walk, you can get hit by a car. There's danger looming around every corner, but you just can't spend your life worrying about it. And for those of us that have lost our best friends, our soulmates, our spouses, or maybe it's a child or whatever your loss has been, you know, we got to find ways to keep on living. We're still going to have those dark moments. I'll still have sadness. I'll still shed tears from time to time. But I'm still here. I'm still sucking in air. I'm still able to speak. I'm still able to move. So I got to keep going. I just got to keep going. And that's what I want you to do as well. And I know I may be repeating myself, But sometimes, that old saying, it bears repeating. In this case, it does. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, keep putting yourself out there. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep trying the best you can. Find you someone who's going through the same journey who you can sit with and look across the table from them and have some of those deep discussions. And know that you're not alone in this. You're certainly not. That's it for this edition of the podcast. Thanks for watching, or thanks for listening. Continue to subscribe. I really would appreciate some reviews of the podcast. That's always appreciated. We got news the other day. We're the number 8 podcast out of 60 in terms of talking about grief and loss. So apparently a few folks out there think we're talking about some of the right things, and I hope that is the case. On YouTube, subscribe, donate, share, thumbs up. That's how you can help. So until we see you next time, have a great day. Better yet, a better tomorrow. And bye now. I'm on the road to the golf course. See you later.